China's leader Xi Jinping has secured a historic third term as president from the country's rubber stamp parliament. It follows a consolidation of power that has made Mr. Xi, 69, China's most dominant leader in generations. In the Chinese system of governance, the functions of the president are largely ceremonial. Mr. Xi's power comes from him being General Secretary of the Communist Party and Chairman of the Central Military Commission. He was handed both posts at a party congress last October. Confirmation of his third term as president had been widely expected. The naming of a new premier and various ministers in the coming days is considered more important. The new appointees are mostly Xi Jinping's loyalists. This includes Li Qiang, who is tipped to serve as Mr. Xi's number 2. Mr. Xi has also gained another term as the chairman of the CMC of the People's Republic of China. There are 2 CMCs in the country. One is a party organization, while another is a state institution. But their makeup is usually the same. Tensions over democratically governed Taiwan, which China views as its own territory, have spiked over the past 3 years as Beijing ramps up diplomatic and military pressure to get Taipei to accept Chinese sovereignty. Chinese Foreign Minister Qin Gang cautioned the United States over its approach to Taiwan, saying that no country has a right to interfere in what China regards as its domestic affairs. In his first press conference as China's top diplomat, Qin Gang said that US policies risk conflict and confrontation with Beijing. He outlined China's foreign policy stance, especially focusing on the United States, Taiwan, Russia, and the war in Ukraine. Speaking on the sidelines of the annual National People's Congress in Beijing, Qin said that the issue of Taiwan and Washington's One China policy is the basis of all relations between the 2 global powers. He said no other country has the right to interfere in the Taiwan issue, calling it a red line that Washington must not cross. Qin added that China reserves the option to take measures that it deems necessary to achieve reunification with Taiwan. Russia unleashed a massive missile barrage targeting infrastructure across cities in Ukraine as per Ukrainian officials. The missiles targeted Kharkiv in the north to Odessa in the south and Zhytomyr in the west. In the northeastern region of Kharkiv on the Russian border, Governor Oleg Sinegubov said that there had been 15 strikes. Air raid sirens sounded across the country, including the capital Kyiv. The wave of attacks is the first of its kind in 3 weeks. Ukrainian officials said that at least 5 people had been killed in the wave of attacks, 4 of which were killed in western Lviv region and 1 in the eastern Dnipropetrovsk region. Officials added that 40% of households were without heating as electricity infrastructure had been hit. The attacks were reported to have struck a wide arc of other targets. Explosions were also reported in the cities of Chernihiv, Dnipro, Lutsk and Rivne, as well as the western Lviv region. Moscow has been launching massive missile attacks against Ukrainian civilian infrastructure, in particular targeting energy infrastructure and often plunging whole cities into darkness since last October. Bangladeshi authorities launched an investigation into a massive fire Rohingya refugee camp that has left 12,000 people without shelter. The fire broke out in Cox's Bazar, a southeastern coastal district and the world's largest refugee settlement, which hosts about 1.2 million Rohingya Muslims who fled violence and persecution in neighboring Myanmar. The blaze swept through the Kutupalong and the Balochali camps, reducing to ashes some 2,000 huts before it was brought under control later. The fire broke out in 3 blocks of the Rohingya camps, affecting around 12,000 Rohingyas. All of them lost their shelter. Refugee Relief and Repatriation Commissioner Mizanur Rahman said, adding that no casualties had been reported so far. Rahman told Arab News that works to restore the shelters have already started and the International Organization for Migration has distributed housing material among the Rohingyas, who will be rebuilding their homes themselves. The UN Children's Fund estimated that half of the refugees affected by the fire were children. Startup-focused lender SVB Financial Group, that is the Silicon Valley Bank Group, became the largest bank to fail since the 2008 financial crisis on Friday in a sudden collapse that roiled global markets, leaving billions of dollars belonging to companies and investors stranded. The Silicon Valley Bank was USA's 16th largest bank at the end of last year with about $209 billion in assets. The bank failed after depositors, mostly technology workers and venture capital-backed companies, hurried to withdraw their money this week as anxiety over the bank's situation spread. California banking regulators closed the bank and appointed the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation as receiver for later disposition of its assets. This move underscores the impact that the US's rapid interest rate increase is having on small lenders. Reasons behind the bank's sudden collapse were a jumble, but the Fed's aggressive interest rate hikes in the last year, which had crimped financial conditions in the startup space in which it was a notable player, seemed front and center. SVB is the second regional lender to fold this week after Silvergate Capital Corp announced it was voluntarily liquidating its bank, spurring a broader sell-off in the bank stocks. 9 security officers were killed and at least 13 others were wounded during a suicide attack in southwest Pakistan. The blast happened in Balochistan province when the officers were returning to the provincial capital Quetta after policing a festival. Images show a police truck crushed and overturned with blood stains on the ground. This is the second attack on security forces in Balochistan this week. No group has claimed responsibility. Karachi's District Deputy Police Commissioner Sami Aga confirmed to the BBC that it was a suicide attack. Reuters reported that the attacker rammed a motorbike into the truck. The area had been cordoned off and a bomb disposal team was at the site to gather evidence. The Balochistan government had condemned the attack and said that an investigation is underway. Australian officials warned of risks of bushfires in the east after about 2 years of frequent flooding and rain as a severe heat wave pushed temperatures in several regions including Sydney to their highest in 2 years. As per reports, a total of 33 fires are burning across New South Wales, Australia's most populous state, of which Sydney is the capital, with 12 not contained yet. 5 public schools have been shut amid a total fire ban across large parts of the state. After 2 years of rains and floods, a return to warmer conditions has sparked New South Wales state's worst fires since the 2019-20 Black Summer. A blaze 250 km northwest of Sydney triggered the region's first emergency fire warning in 2 years. Firefighters reported battling 49 feet high flames. Residents in affected areas have been urged to evacuate and there are reports of damage to some properties. For the first time since Jan 2021, temperatures hit the 41 degrees Celsius mark in some parts of the state. India today termed as frivolous, baseless and politically motivated remarks made by Pakistan Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari on Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir during a debate Women, Peace and Security at the UN Security Council. India's permanent representative to the UN, Ruchiraj Kamboj, said it is unworthy to even respond to such malicious and false propaganda. Kamboj said, rather, our focus has been and will always be positive and forward-looking. She said the discussion is critically important to strengthen the collective efforts to accelerate the full implementation of the Women, Peace and Security agenda. India respects the topic and recognizes the importance of time, and its focus shall remain to the topic. Kamboj said the cultural ethos of India has taught people to regard the planet Earth as a mother. As a nation with a strong civilization character rooted in women's empowerment and equal participation in social and economic life, India strongly believes that the progress of women is the very basis for the empowerment of a nation. Japanese police have arrested 3 people over sushi terror, viral unhygienic pranks that are threatening the world-famous feature of sushi conveyor belt restaurants. Last month, a video of a man licking a soy sauce bottle on a sushi train went viral, sparking outrage. Japan's signature cuisine is at the center of a police investigation after customers at revolving sushi restaurants posted video clips of themselves interfering with food and playing pranks on other customers. Several acts of what is being called sushi terrorism have emerged on Twitter and other social media in recent days, although some apparently date back weeks and even years. A shooting at the Jehovah's Witness Center in the German city of Hamburg has left 8 people dead, including the suspected gunman, police said, as the motive for the attack remained unclear. Several more people were injured in the attack at the Kingdom Hall building in the port city of Hamburg, where Jehovah's Witnesses members were attending a religious service. 8 people were fatally injured, apparently including the suspected perpetrator, Hamburg police said in a statement, adding that several other people were hurt, some seriously. Chancellor Olaf Scholz condemned the brutal act of violence and said his thoughts were with the victims and their loved ones. The Jehovah's Witnesses in Germany Association said that it was deeply saddened by the horrific attack on its members. The first emergency calls were made around 8:15 GMT after shots rang out of the building in the city's northern district of Grossborstel. Hamburg police said that they were still working out to find the motives for the attack.